Are you tired of getting lousy leads, of working with prospects who just don't seem to be interested in buying your service? My name is Kevin Benet, and in this video, we're going to be talking about how to use webinars to turn prospects into clients. Let's get started. Ever since COVID, people have been forced to stay inside, to video conference all over the place. And so people are accustomed to it. Your target audience, the adult seniors who are children of seniors who need care, are the ones that you want to target. If you have a home care agency, a legal service, a moving agency, downsizing, financial advice, there are all kinds of needs that that people are looking for their senior. One of the most common problems that you hear is these leads stink. When a salesperson gets a list of people that he's supposed to call and they're not interested, then it seems like somebody has not done their homework. Well, there are things you can do on both ends of the lead situation. You can get better leads. You want to, of course, but even the best leads are going to need some nurturing, especially when it comes to a service that is very complex. Something like legal services or home care services. You know, you're not buying a toaster, folks. You're going to have to nurture these leads. They're going to have to like you, know, like, and trust you. As every salesperson knows, it takes many touches with a prospect to turn them into a client. It's estimated between 8 and 12 contacts with the person. And that means that they have to learn about you. They have to learn about what you're offering. So the answer today is the webinar, sometimes called a webcast. And you will probably need more than one webinar, and you will be reaching a pool of people because you want to be as effective as you can. So you can bring people up the mountain to buying your service, and the customer journey takes a long time sometimes. Here in Chicago, there's a radio program, a couple of them on Sunday morning, where financial gurus will give lots of advice. And one of them is Rick Edelman, who has written one or more books. His show is entertaining, and he talks about how to do all kinds of things. There's, you know, retirement, there's saving, there's planning. The other show that's on in the morning is a fellow who does he talks about health insurance. And so he talks about his own products, and he gives people information, advice, free information. And so these people have a big audience. They are broadcast on WLS, which is one of the big old stations here in the area. The reaches thousands and thousands of people. I'm sure they pay for the radio time, and that's how they do it. But especially a small business doesn't have the money to afford the radio time. So webcasts are very cheap, and you could put them up quickly, and you could reach a lot of people. Now, there are the main way. We're going to talk about a couple of things today. One of them is headline writing, and then the other one is the technical aspects of email, because we're going to use email as the primary tool to bring people in, as to bring people to participate in your webinar. But the first thing to do is to pick a good title for, and the title is like a headline. And once you choose the headline, everything else will fall into place. That headline will become, it will be in your subject line of your emails. It'll be on your flyers. It will be what you, how you start out your webinar. There should be put a lot of effort in writing a headline. And as you may know, a headline in a newspaper is what grabs people's attention. A subject line in an email is the first thing people see. The job of that subject line is to convince people to read your email. It doesn't have to do much beyond that. It's sometimes short, sometimes long. It's always catchy. Let's go back here. One of the moguls of advertising, David Ogilvy, he was very successful in New York, set up his Ogilvy and Mather advertising agency with offices all over the world. And he would often write his headlines as many as 18 times to get it right. And that's because you have to ponder, you have to think about it, you have to succinctly write something that's very attractive. Here are the different types of headlines. There's the how-to headline, like our own headline here, how to use webinars to turn prospects into clients. 10 ways to do something. Any kind of a number in a headline is good. The secrets, everybody wants to know about secrets. And if a lot of people don't know about it, it's a secret. What the experts won't tell you, what the gurus won't refuse to tell you. You know, one of my headlines is that what the nursing homes don't want to tell you. Then there's a curiosity headline. They laughed when I sat down to play the piano. Or they laughed when I told them I took piano lessons. Then I sat down to play. Next is the exchange headline. Give me 30 days and I'll give you this or that. Okay. Or don't make this common mistake. In other words, it's some kind of knowledge that you have that and a lot of people are getting it wrong. So that's the don't make this mistake headline. These are the headlines that I started to write before coming up with my own title for this webinar. How to nurture prospects with webinars. And I liked the idea of the webinars, but that headline kind of fell flat. Finally came up with this one. How to turn prospects into clients. And then after I advertised it, I thought, you know, I probably want to put webinars in there somewhere because it makes them more specific. You know, you gotta give some information that's not too general. So to clients, very basic, very straightforward. Your email list is your audience. It's a very effective, very inexpensive way to reach a lot of people. You know, some people use social media, and that's a way to do it. That's not the way we do it here. I like emails. There's other lists that you have. There are lists of your current clients, whoever they are. Now, the trick is, let's move on here. All right. These emails of yours are going to talk about your subject matter. They're going to be mailed out 5 times before the event itself. Now, that's quite a bit. You know, you might be thinking, we don't want to slam people with all these emails. Well, guess what? If it really helps them, they're going to like it. So the first email goes out 10 days before. It goes to your full list and so forth, as you can read here. 7 days, 4 days. There are 5 of these emails, and they go out to your full list. Now, you might be a little squeamish to send out the emails to everybody on the list. And if you're afraid of turning people off, you can select some of these emails in between sequence, like maybe number 3 and number 4, and only send them to your most loyal subscribers. Now, in a program such as MailChimp, you have a 5-star rating system. And sometimes I like to send it to just the 4-star and the 5-star people, because the reason is you get a better open rate. And when you do that, the mail servers out there know that you're more successful in reaching people who want to open their emails. And as a result, they are more likely to route your email to the inbox rather than the spam folder. And so that's one solution. Up here where it says tips, I would vary the subject line and the wording. And as I mentioned, you might send it to the best subscribers in the middle of the series. Now we have this email invite sequence here. And then after people register, you have the email show up sequence. And it's called this because we want people to show up. I will explain later how people register for a webinar. Now, when they sign up, immediately upon registration, you send them an email thanking them and you asking them to share their registration with others on social media. You also send one day before and 1 hour before and 15 minutes before. Now, these are people, these are the registrants, you see, but they do not get these emails up here in the invite after they've registered. You don't want to send people an email that says, hey, come on and register, when they've already registered. Seems like something's wrong. Let's look at some of these emails. All righty. Here's one. I want to show you over here. This is the registration for this particular webinar, how to turn prospects into clients. It's nice to have very bold, straightforward headlines. I tell people exactly when it's occurring. Here's a button for register. There's a countdown timer here, which is very handy. You have a picture of the speaker. You have bullet points which describe the important parts of the webinar. And over here, you have a little pitch and it goes, have you been frustrated with leads that seem to go nowhere? If so, then this free webinar is for you. And a rather register button. Let's take a look at this registration. Here's the free webinar. We have the name and everything else. When you click this, and by the way, I'm using Lead Pages software. Lead Pages works very well. It costs $37 a month approximately. If you buy the year package, it's a lower per month fee. When people register, their registration is linked to our MailChimp system. Our MailChimp is a emailing system. And here I've asked to be notified every time somebody registers. Okay. We go over here to fields. You have first name, last name, email address, and then over here. And you don't see this field on the registration form. And that's because it is a hidden field. And I have set up on our MailChimp subscription list what's called a group. And there are two groupings within the main group. And they're for the two webinars that I've put on recently. So everybody who registers gets put on this group called Turn Prospects into Clients. And you see that's checked. That all happens automatically. And then back in MailChimp, I have an email going out to everyone who becomes a member of that subgroup, Turn Prospects into Clients. Now, after they fill this out, they arrive at a thank you page once they hit the register now button. And let's take a look at that. Congrats, you're registered to attend. And then there's the countdown. And then there's the link there. Please copy the below link onto your calendar. Now, please spread the word. And this is important too, because you're asking people to share their enthusiasm right at the moment. And there's a tricky thing here. When you fill this out, you have to put in the name of the registration page, not this page. If you don't change this form over here, when you send people, when people share their link, they'll send this congratulation page. That's not what you want. You want them to share this page over here, which is the registration page that I showed you a few minutes ago. Let's take a look at another email. This is for a financial advisor client of ours. And this email goes out and it says 5 reasons to attend the Qualify for Medicaid webinar tomorrow night. There are 5 urgent reasons why you need to attend the Qualify for Medicare webinar tomorrow night. And there I explain, here are the participation details, the title, the time, and we have our bullet points. In this case, we are not asking people to register. We're simply giving the link right in the email. And that might be the better idea, or at least it has its advantages. I will explain later. One of the advantages of registering people is they get put in the proper group so that when you send out these subsequent emails of invitations, you can exclude them from the people who are already registered. And as software such as MailChimp can detect those, you can set it so that it does not send to those people who are in a certain group. Now, conversely, down here, when you're sending out the welcome email, welcome for the registration, you send it only to those people who are in that group, who have registered, in fact. And now they're on a special list. And so you send a sequence of emails to the registrants, and you send them not only immediately, but 1 day before the webinar, 1 hour before, and 15 minutes before. And you might think, well, you know, we're spamming them with emails. Well, no, you're not, because they've already shown their interest by signing up, and they're looking forward to going to the webinar, but they do have to be reminded. And that is, so, you know, you have to keep coming back with the email saying, hey, we're happy to talk with you. You know, it's going to start in an hour, or it's going to start in 15 minutes. Join us right now. And otherwise, people just forget. They just put it off. You know, if they're signing up 5 days ahead of time, they just figure, well, yeah, I'll have the time, but then everybody gets busy. So they have to be encouraged again and again and again. Here's a way that I actually cheated the system here. I broke the rules, and I was giving a webinar, and it was 20 minutes before it started, and I realized that I was asking people to register, and the numbers were very low. And I just thought, I'm just going to send out the actual link and just say, come on and join me, and therefore not requiring registration. Well, I doubled my numbers. And so there were, you know, a nice number of people in the waiting room, and I gave the webinar. Now, if I had not sent that with the link in it, I don't know how many would have come up. So in this case, the audience was reluctant to even fill out a form and click on the link. They might have thought, well, why do I have to register? You know, why do I have to enter my name again? They already know my name. They got my email. So the thing is that every little obstacle is a little bar that they have to jump over. And so by making it really easy, you know, you'll get more people. That's what I think. And here's the email sent 20 minutes in advance. You know, here's the link to, whoops, wait a minute. You know, over here we have our bullet points. Here's what you'll learn at the webinar, you know, reminding them what they're going to get. So if your leads have been failures, it's possible that it's not in the leads, but in the magic you perform afterwards. So there's a certain amount of hype in here, which you need in every sales pitch. Okay, let's move on. Now, when the webinar is over, you can still get mileage out of it. One option is to record the webinar and then show it later as a replay. Sometimes, well, there's two types of webinars, at least in Zoom. There's actually a webinar where you can see the people that are participating. Wait, excuse me, that's called a meeting. The meeting is where you see the people and you're sort of on an equal basis. I mean, the leader does have certain control, but now the webinar is something else. With the webinar, you can appear as the speaker and the other people are not visible on the screen anywhere. And so those people are sort of out of sight. And that might be an advantage because if you do want to record it, you don't have to worry about recording people's faces and so forth. In any case, you can, if you don't want to record it, you can always just make a recording yourself, make it right on Zoom, and then put that up on YouTube, and then send out an email with the YouTube video embedded in the email. And a lot of people are they just can't come to the webinar because something else was going on, and they're happy that you recorded it. And you know, sometimes they just want to skip through it to see what you're saying. Well, that's fine. At least they get some of your content instead of getting none of it. So we have what's called the email maximization sequence, in which you embed the replay video like I described. And there's something else here. You ask for an appointment and you say, please talk to me, you know, send me, because it, you know, it gives you some advance notice. You can prepare a little bit. You know, it shows them that, you know, you're not at their beck and call all the time. You have a lot of things going on. So Calendly is one appointment software. They have a free version, and you just click on the date and time. You can block out certain times that you have. And of course, you get a notice when people do sign up for a time slot. Once again, with these emails, you vary the subject line and wording, but you want to keep the essential part of the title in your subject line. Okay. So everything's about winning them over, bringing along your prospects to the point where they will buy from you. And as I mentioned, webinars are a very personal way to do this. They're inexpensive. You can reach people very quickly. You can replay the video and give them an opportunity again. This is a great way to keep up with your current clients as well, to talk to them about issues and encourage them to come to you for more information and more services. You might be wondering, you know, my email list is just 50 or 100 people, or maybe I don't even have one. Well, you know, if it's under, I would say if it's under, you know, 300 or under 400, it's going to be kind of hard to get people to come, you know, get prospects to come to your webinar. And so the way to build up your email list is to attract more prospects with a lead capture system. Now, here at Savvy Senior Marketing, we can put on pay-per-click ads, and this type of ad is either on Facebook or Google. Then we capture these names and addresses, and we promise them something like a webinar or a PDF, some kind of it's called a lead magnet, something that attracts them, a freebie, a free gift. That attracts them to give their name and address and even phone number. Now we have a landing page, which is like the registration page that you saw. It's optional. We don't have to use a landing page. We can just capture their name and phone number and email. Then you have integration software, which sends notices to your mobile phone that somebody has clicked on your ad and entered their information. And then you can just call them right away. And that quick response adds very much of an effectiveness factor to getting them as a client. Now, the integration software also adds people to your email list, and then you can have a sequence of automated emails that go out. And the first email goes out within a few minutes of them signing up. And then you could write all your emails in advance. You could send them one every 4 days, every 7 days. And so everybody who's new gets to enter the beginning of the list, and you can keep in touch with them for months. And you know, much of the work is done. This service is available from Savvy Senior Marketing, and I am the president of the company. I will be happy to talk with you about setting up a lead capture system for you. I think it's good, it's competitive, and it will increase your business. Here are sample ads that we've run for a client. Are you shocked at the high cost of nursing homes? And with this financial service, you can enter a nursing home and have Medicaid pay for it and hold on to some or even all of your assets. If your spouse is alive, you do not have to give up your house. If you have a certain amount of assets, it's very much worthwhile to look into this system. And we are able to deliver about, right now, 1 prospect a day for our client. And last week we had 4 people show up at his webinar, and it's not a real aggressive, large program either. But when you get people to show up to your webinar, then you can see them if they show their picture, and you can talk to them in a very personal way. So here's the overview of the program. First of all, the problem of leads that stink, and then it takes many touches to convert a prospect into a client. And then the idea of multiple webinars is a great way to keep up with people and develop them along that path to become your happy clients. What we offer here at Savvy Senior Marketing: lead generation, pay-per-click leads. We have optional setups, landing page, email system. We can also promote your webinar and bring people, put them in seats so that you can tell them what you're all about and offer them your services. Well, that's it